Good evening, everyone. This is Mason Sims, and I hope that your week is off to a great start. Election Day is tomorrow, so any of you that have not voted early, tomorrow is the day. And I know it's probably going to be a little bit wet out there, so just make sure to bring an umbrella or raincoat. This is going to be the most important election probably of our lifetime. So please, if you have not already, get out and vote. So today I have Mayor Lisa Talbert. She is the mayor of Easley, and she is about to complete her first full year as mayor. And she's going to share with us some experiences that she learned along the way of campaigning and also current issues that are going on right now. So again, my name is Mason Sims, and let's get started. Well, good evening, everybody. With me today, I have Mayor Lisa Talbert. She is about to complete her first term as Mayor of Easley, and thank you for joining us today, Mayor Talbert.
Thank you. Not first term, first year.
First year, yes. Thank you for correcting me. Yes, the first year.
Thank you for having me, Mason. I appreciate you. I appreciate the time that you put into my campaign and knocking doors. And so I want to do what I can to support you and your program. I appreciate your support.
Absolutely, I appreciate you coming by. So yeah, that brings me to my first question too. So what made you decide to run for Easley, Mayor of Easley?
That's a story I have told many times. I actually had not planned to run for mayor of Easley. I had always been interested in politics, and especially during COVID, when I started watching the council meetings online. And to be honest with you, there were some COVID policies that were being discussed that I was not on board with, and had decided at that time that I just felt like things could be done a little bit differently in that respect in terms of our personal liberty. So the interest in the city itself actually started during COVID. And then with the growth that also we saw during that COVID period, I mean, it was COVID and nobody was going anywhere, but things were just popping up all around us. And I had a situation that happened in my career. I had left one company, planned to go to another company, and that was about that 3 or 4 month period where you could register to run. And I made a couple of phone calls to see if anybody was running or challenging the incumbent and the policies, and was told no. And I thought, oh my goodness, I wonder if that's the Lord speaking. So I prayed about it, talked to some friends about it, talked to my pastor, and thought, okay, I'm going to sit on this and I'm going to let the Lord open doors or close doors. And the doors kept opening, Mason. And so I decided in July, just one sign after another sign after another sign, that for whatever reason, it was my time. And this was my period in my life when I had the time that I could try it. And it just has turned into the greatest blessing and the greatest opportunity.
And you said that you're about to move from one company to the next. So is that something that you still do in addition to being mayor?
No, I mean, my plan was to get in, and I was advised by some other mayors that I had talked to. I started the minute I won the first race and thought, oh my goodness, this is real. The Lord did intend for me to do this. I started getting advice, and tried to learn a little bit about what I was going to do. And so I talked to a couple of people and was advised that, it's a part-time job, but getting into the position and learning it, the learning curve, and getting the new administration going. And we had 4 new elected officials and some city employee positions that needed to be filled and replaced. So it's just been a lot. It's been a lot, a moratorium. So my plan was that I would eventually pull it back part time, which I'm working really good on doing right now, working like 3.5 days. And I may go back. I don't know. I'd love to go back to that career. I do love what I did, but not full time. I couldn't do that. I've got, too much going on in our city right
And then don't they have to go to, once you get elected, don't you go to Columbia to go to some classes about like how government works?
You do. I have completed a lot of that. I've been to Mayor's Association meetings. I have completed my training, my basic budget training. I just finished a class on building municipal economy, strong economy. And I think I've got one more in this year that is actually available. Then we'll go back in January. All of us, actually, all elected officials are included in January events, and to finish my year of municipal government, municipal association training. So it's been exciting. I've learned a lot. You learn a lot in the job, on your feet. It's a big learning curve. And of course, this year we just got out of the storm. I call it the storm of the century. I realize that sounds dramatic, but it feels like it's the storm of the century. And I have been told that it is the biggest storm that Easley has seen in our lifetimes. So talk about a learning curve. Yes, there's been a lot to learn. And I feel like I owe the people of Easley that have put their faith in me to learn as much as I can and to devote as much time and attention to it as I can.
Right. Yeah. And when you live in Easley, you really don't think about hurricanes coming by, just being 4 hours away from the coast.
You don't. And flooding, it's biblical.
It is. Yeah. My dad's up in Western North Carolina. He does storm work up in Spruce Pine, North. So he's going to be busy for a while. They got hit pretty hard up there.
It's been devastating. You know, we had some damage and we've had some stuff to get used to, and we were without power, and some of us are still in and out of our internet, but those poor people are just devastated. And we've been trying to help, all that we can. And it's just, you don't think about living in the mountains and the foothills and seeing hurricane damage like this. It's crazy.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. My call list for President Trump, there's one person that works at Montreat College. That's where her phone number was anyway. And they were still closed when I got the voice.
I don't doubt it. It's the damage, the infrastructure damage. Our police department sent some folks up there to help and with our drones. And our administrator, in fact, took a day trip up there. And the stories and the pictures that we have of just the road, just driveways, roads that people can't get to their neighborhoods, they're going to take so long to rebuild. It's devastating.
So as far as ways for citizens of Easley to contribute, I remember Rex Rice had mentioned the Salvation Army. Are there other ways that they could help out?
I have heard Samaritan's Purse is probably the best. I know that the Red Cross is doing some things in conjunction with Samaritan's Purse, and a lot of churches, my church that we belong to have sent several loads up there. I have personal friends that are taking van loads of things up there, but lots of Easley churches, I know Five Point was involved, and First Baptist sent a team up there to work. So a lot of our churches, if you'd like to get involved and you're involved with the church, that would be a good place to start. And definitely Samaritan's Purse. Franklin
Right.
Grant.
Well, yes, that's good. Yeah, I'll make sure to make note of that too, especially share that on my Facebook page for any of those that would be interested. So I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah.
And next thing I was going to mention, this is almost your first year as mayor. So
Yeah.
what are some things that you feel like went well and some things that did not go so well? I feel like there could have been room for improvement.
Okay, well, some things I'm really proud of would be our moratorium, the UDOs that we're working under. That was the goal, I think, of all of the campaigns of the newly elected officials, was to do something, the outcry about the random growth and the rapid growth. The thing is, Mason, and I think people understand this, because when I talk to them, I talk to a lot of people. I talk to people that come by my office, that call me. And I think for the most part, citizens know that we are going to grow. So I have been misquoted a lot of times, either purposefully or not, that I want to stop growth. We are not going to ever be able to stop growth. I don't know if you've seen
Right.
statistics or if anybody else that you've interviewed has said this, but when I was at the Mayor's Association meeting in May, at that time, South Carolina was the number one growing state in our nation. And then a couple of months later, had dropped to number 4, but it's still in the top 10. In fact, the whole Southeast is in that. So we are going to grow. So what people are really concerned about is the way that we grow and how we grow, and that we maintain Easley's iconic character, that we keep that feel that everybody loves about Easley. So I'm most proud of us pulling together as a council and getting that moratorium in. The moratorium is up this month. We're in November. Hello. And we are going to readdress a renewal at our council meeting that's coming up this coming Monday. The MRB group is almost finished, but we still have to go before the Planning Commission with what they have, and then the council has to go through. Council has to review it, the council has to approve it, and we want to allow that extra time. So we are going to put up for vote an extension of that. But I think I'm the most proud of that. And I think to answer the other question partially for both ways would be the budget ordeal. I'm proud of the budget, but I took a lot for approving and voting for the millage increase. But I feel like that I was very clear in my reasons for doing that. The employees to have that fair living wage and to do the things we need to do for the city. So I am proud of that because we weren't able to get as much as I would have liked, but in politics you compromise. So we were able to come together and compromise and get enough passed that we were able to I feel like give them something, a more fair compensation. Because when I came on board, we were in a situation where our first responders were not competitively paid. And I'm not a big fan of taxes at all. I'm a fiscal conservative. But I do believe that people that live inside cities, no, you have to pay some tax for infrastructure. And that would be your trash collection, your police, your fire. I mean, you enjoy these services and it takes money to pay for these services. And the people that provide these services have to eat, and they have to earn a living. So taxes have a place. I think when people get upset, and we see this more on a national level, it's when you feel like, and you may agree with this if you're fiscal conservative, when you feel like taxes you pay are wasted or misused or are just not used correctly. That's when people get really upset. I like to think that, and what I'm proud of is that this millage has paid people that deserve it and gotten some needed equipment. So, but again, that was hard. And it's not something that, I'll have to think really, really long and hard about doing that again. But I made a promise, Nathan, to myself and to the Lord that I would make decisions based on what I felt that I was led to do or that was right, not on what might be popular on social media at the moment or to think about re-election for myself, but put the city first.
Right. And I feel like at least what happened to the county council, the millage increase, I think a lot of people got upset because they feel like they could have maybe tried other options to, get the money for certain things rather than increase taxes. So I guess, yeah. So at least the people that, understand how government works and stuff, I feel like as long as you tried every single option possible, then you'd have no choice to raise taxes. I feel like that people would understand. But I feel like, this is where they get upset.
The people that know me, and they know how fiscally conservative I am and how my husband says cheap, but I don't like that word, but I am very frugal. And so I have seen a lot of savings come through our administration, which you know about, and we work on daily. Our new CPA is a fiscal hawk, and he is constantly looking for us for savings. So we are about saving the taxpayers' money, but I feel like citizens want that protection. And one of the things we're going to have to discuss, and I don't remember if I mentioned it at the precinct meeting before last, is the concerns I'm hearing a lot. I talk to so many people, and a lot of people are concerned about traffic and some of the traffic violations, but, with the few policemen we have versus the population that we're growing, that we may have to look at, do the people want to hire more policemen or a traffic unit? We're going to have some growing pains, and we're going to have to figure out how to stay safe and grow.
Right. And before you did make the decision to raise the millage, did you try to look at other options too, like see if you can get certain grants or things like that to come up
And
with the money?
yes, yes. And the thing about grants, you have to remember, Mason, is they're one time. And so when you give people salary increases, that has to be recurring. It has to be something that will be there every year. So the other thing I've had to learn is designation. And that is, you may have this much money in this fund, but you can't use that fund to pay for this line item. So there's a lot in government that I didn't understand as a regular citizen. And I think a lot of the public doesn't understand that has been some fast learning about how you can use what funds for what expenses. But to your point, it has to be money that's going to be there year after year if you're going to offer it as income to employees. So yes, we do. Every day we do explore grants for a lot of things that that's a great source of income or revenue for a municipality.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, you did take a look at grants, so that sure people would like to know that you tried other options before raising the millage.
Which way we could twist the pen. It can't, from P. Mason, it can't, not 100% of people voted for that budget increase. But for me, the bottom line was the employees. Some of the employees that work for the city had not been increased salary in a decade. And I don't have to tell you what inflation is doing right now and what you're paying for eggs at the grocery store. Well, these people have families. And it was sad to see. And I don't think any of us want all of our senior first responders to jump ship because the city next door is paying $7,000 more a year and they need the income. So we're trying to do what we can to compensate good city employees. So
That
we're
makes
not there.
sense. Yeah,
We're not where I want to be, but we're getting there.
I can imagine Pickens County probably loses a lot of employees over to Greenville.
Greenville, yes.
Yes, yeah, with it being a larger county, I'm sure they probably had more to pay them. So yeah, naturally that'd probably be one of the
Well,
reasons why they go there.
it would, when you have a family, you have to think about that in these days with inflation being what it is. But one of our neighbor cities, I was told, I don't know this firsthand, that one of our employees was told that in Central, their firefighters are starting at salaries that are higher than our current firefighters. So that was happening before we passed this budget. We felt like it was somewhat urgent to at least give them the hope of seeing some future adjustments for their salaries.
Oh, definitely, and Easley's way bigger than Central.
It is. It is. We have a lot of people coming. We want to
Yeah,
keep everybody safe.
yeah, well, that's good. Yeah, and I appreciate you answering that for me. And then there was another one I wanted to ask you. About a few months ago, I was at a meeting where you said, I believe you said that people, good candidates do not want to run based on, I guess, kind of like the
Civility.
nastiness and
Yeah.
rudeness that they see in the meetings. So can you
Well,
kind of,
on social media, and um, I mean, I don't know about the meetings are their own animal, but mostly what I hear is because politics is getting really nasty. I mean, you know that.
right? Yeah, and the other thing I would say is I won't name a certain name, but there is a person on city council. I noticed that person interviews people when they want to run. So I wonder if you'd possibly agree with that, because some people kind of feel like that person interviews people because that council or that councilman feel that he or she can control those candidates. That's why that council
That
person interviews people.
I have not heard that. That's new. I have to say, I thought I had heard everything in Easley politics, but that's the first time I've heard that. I've not heard of anybody holding interviews. I've not really been on an interview. I don't know who would be holding interviews. That's interesting. No, I guess
Yes.
that's those social media rumors. And that's to your point. When I meet people and have people that I'm interacting with in the community, and they're working on this board or that committee or this commission, or they're at the council meeting, I'm like, you should really think about it. Your age or your passion, or because of your interest, getting involved. This is not something I believe in term limits, Mason. This is not something I plan to spend the rest of my life doing, but we need people that want to do it for the right reason, to step up. And lately it's been like, I would never subject my family to that, or I would never put myself through that. It's kind of, I mean, not funny, but funny. You'll hear, well, I have too many skeletons in my closet and I would never survive social media scrutiny. So it's kind of sad nationally and locally that politics has come to that. I mean, I was the first to say during my campaign that I was not a politician. I was a mom, a new grandma, and I came from a Fortune 500 company. This municipal government stuff's kind of unusual and difficult to learn, but it's been
Right.
good. But it's not something that is easy. The campaigning part is the worst part, honestly, and it's rough. It's rough. People, um, in my personal experience, a lot of people are still upset with me or with the situation that their candidate didn't win and they thought they should. People that really don't even know me or have never met me or have never asked me, making it personal. So I'm sure the other people that have run for other offices find that to be true. In fact, I'm sure, I mean, the county races can get ugly, the Senate races can get ugly, the House recently, that race gets ugly. It's just and really good people, John and Jane Smith, sitting at home that may be watching this, that think, I could do this, or I would like to do this for this reason, to inspire people, won't, because of that nastiness. And so
Right.
that's why I took up the calls from the Municipal Association to join our sister cities in trying to promote civility. We can't, can't, you can't legalize how people act, but you can sign a proclamation. You can pass a resolution to encourage people to be your best.
Right. And that same council person, I used to go to that person for advice. But the moment I announced my candidacy, I believe it was on the Telegram chat, the person started to question my residency in Easley. And I really thought that, this person was going to be supportive because I've trusted this person for a couple of years now. But that was pretty hurtful. I mean, that's going to be the last time I go to that person for advice. And
I am so
I just,
sorry for that.
I
That's
appreciate
not a
it.
good, yeah, that's not a good experience.
Yeah, I
And
just hope there's something.
sorry.
Go ahead.
I was
You
just going
there?
to say, yeah, I was just going to say, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just going to say that that's a good example of what I was saying is that above all else, we're all still human beings, and politics adds, now politics is politics. And if you're running a race, you're running to win it, but I never wanted to compromise who I was as a person. I'm the same person at, in my office at City Hall as I am with my grandchildren and in my church and at my parents' house and in my living room. So I try to treat people with dignity and respect. If I disagree with them, and there are people I strongly disagree with, but you can do that the right way. And
All
so
right. Yeah.
I don't have a problem. I have built wonderful relationships with people that I know didn't personally support me as a candidate. But once I took my oath of office for the city of Easley, my goal is to do the absolute best I can for the most people I can for as long as I can, and to build partnerships with people that I need to build to do that. And so I hope everybody can eventually come to that point because it's been great to be able to build relationships with people that I just didn't think I would be able to and work together for the good of Easley. And I hope everybody can do that and at least think about that, no matter where they are. I mean, we're talking about Easley, but if you're in another state and you see this, or if you're in another county and you see this, once that game of politics or whatever is over, and you have a city to take care of, you have a county to take care of, have a state to take care of, and it needs to be that as Americans we can come together and do what needs to be done.
Yeah, and there's a lot of division even in Pickens County right now, and
In the
man,
nation,
they
the nation,
yes,
and people do get really. Now I'm nervous about the election. I think we all are because it's just been such a stressful election. But one of the things that I would like to say to people tonight and to remember, and I've learned it, experienced it this past 10 months, is that what people really are wrapped up in right now is the national issue. And that's great. And we should be involved and we should be concerned. But where you have the most impact is local. I had so many people say, you're just not ever going to be able to do this. This is not something that, well, I'm the first female mayor in Easley. And I had so many people tell me, you're just never going to make it. You're not going to be able to do it. And I just didn't let that deter me. But locally, if people would step up and run for school board or run for council or run for mayor or run for county council or run for something, and even if you don't run, okay, go to your PTA meetings, get involved, help your neighbors, pick up litter, go for the beautification committee. You can make a difference more locally, Mason, than you ever can nationally. I mean, and local affects you more. Local is where you live. It's where you work. It's where your family goes to school. People need to be as involved and as concerned locally as they are nationally right now.
right. Yeah, I didn't realize how important or how big that local government is till just about a few years ago.
And it
Yeah, a lot,
affects more. It affects your daily life more than what's happening right now in the national arena.
definitely. Yeah, 'cause I didn't even know who my state representative was or what county or city council was.
That's true for a lot of people. I knocked on a lot of doors, and I know you knocked doors for my campaign, and I don't know if you heard the same thing, but I knocked on doors and I heard, I don't know if I'm in the city. You are. You're in the city. I don't know who my councilman is. I don't know what ward I'm in. It's amazing. It is amazing. You're right. 100%. People
It,
don't know.
it is. Yeah, just despite of everything going on, I thought it would go up. I'm just still surprised there was a lot of people that didn't really know who their councilman was.
That's true. That's true. And a lot of people probably still don't. But you go to the City of Easley's website, and you can go under government, go down under council, and off the side, it's locate your ward. Click on that and find your street, and it'll tell you what ward you're in and who your council person is.
Yes, it is very handy. I use that and also the thing they have on the county website as far as
Yes,
like finding which district you live in.
yes.
So
Tell
that
you all.
information is very helpful.
Yes, it is. Very helpful. So that's your homework tonight, everybody.
Yeah, so make sure to do that. It's very user friendly and shouldn't take more than a minute or so.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the last question I had is, I know this has been a big topic lately, and actually this was brought up at the city council meetings. When he ran for mayor of Easley, one of the things on your platform was he wanted to change the form of government that it currently has, which Easley has a strong mayor
Yes.
council form to council mayor. And a lot of people, actually include myself as well, are just curious what made, once you got elected into office, what made you change your mind to keep Easley the same that it is.
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, Mason. I get asked that question a lot, and I have taken the time to put together. I don't know if you've read it. I hope you have. If you haven't, I hope you will. The entire synopsis of all my reasons and the process that I went through that changed my personal stance. And I want to be, if I can be honest, I can be honest on your webcast. If I can be honest, it's a personal position that even though, and I'll go through the steps if you want me to, that caused me to change the way I believe about it and the way I see it, it's still something that each person, even if I have changed my beliefs and I've given you the reasons why, that doesn't mean you have to. That means there's still the opportunity in our state. Any citizen can start a petition to get government change. So just because I have spent 9 months researching and talking to people and learning more about it and seeing that this is really not something that people of Easley want or that is effective or would make a difference right now, and all these other reasons I listed, it's still not shutting down the possibility that you have the right and you have the freedom, if this is something you still feel strongly about, to make that happen through petition, which is the way that you can put it through council. I saw your podcast with Councilman Alexander, and one of the things that he said I agree with is that it's just not something that is popular right now with council or in the city. Now, we do have one council person, Councilwoman Rainey, which, has made it very public that she still is interested in possibly putting forth or interested in changing the form of government. And that's perfectly fine. That's her right to have that position. But every time we talked about, well, when I published my little theories and the things that I had worked so hard on, and the things that had really brought me to a place where I thought, this is just not right. This doesn't feel right anymore. And here's why. I think, yourself and another citizen spoke at a council meeting about it because it was part of my platform. And when you guys spoke about it, I had people show up at City Hall on the 11th ceremony when we had the 9/11 memorial ceremony on the city green. I had people come to that event and ask to speak with me afterwards and say, I watched the council meeting on YouTube. Please stand strong. Please don't move back on your position to keep the government like it is. So every time people speak about it, I get more texts and I get more phone calls and I get more emails from citizens saying, no, you're right. We don't want it changed. So to be perfectly honest with you, as honest as I can be, since I have made my position public about how I've learned what I've learned and why I feel differently, there are 3 citizens, and I'm counting you, 3 citizens that have said that they disagree. It would be dead on arrival at council. The council would not vote for it. If the petition, 50% of the registered voters sign a petition for it, then we can get a referendum. So it's not something that if you know enough people that feel as you do, it can still get through. But, some of the things I mentioned was the fact that what I just talked about, I was having people as early as probably February call and make appointments to sit down with me and say, listen, I know I supported your campaign and I supported this position, but I want to talk to you about that. I have changed my mind. We had, as I mentioned, we had the field representative come to give the public sort of an overview of it during one of our council meetings. And she said to me afterwards, she said, I don't want to, it's not our place. They're very neutral. They don't go for or against. They just give you the facts. She said, I just want you to know, I think you should know several people came up to me in the lobby out front and said, we voted for her for this, but I don't like this. And she said, well, then it's up to you to speak to her. And so that, Mason, what started these people calling me and coming to me and saying, please don't do this. So that was one aspect. And so I thought I need to get more information. And I went to the Mayor's Association meeting. And part of that conference actually was the field representative doing a class on the different forms of government. And they had a panel there and they had speakers there that had actually participated either in all forms or represented cities from all forms to answer questions and talk about it. That was fascinating. And that's where the majority of people, I think there were only like 25 of us at that meeting, so we could really engage and really get down and focus and work on it. And the majority of people said, whether they had changed it, not changed it, worked for the city in one form or the other form, what they found to be the case is that for the general citizen on the street at home, doing their job, making their dinner, helping their kids with homework, they didn't see a difference. They didn't notice the difference. And at the end of the day, no matter which form you have, the quality of your elected individuals made all the difference. You could take the same form of government and trade out that administration 3 times to 3 forms, and the same people will make decisions the same way based on their political beliefs and inclinations. And I thought, okay, that's one thing. So one of the questions I asked at one of those classes was, my perception as a citizen and a candidate was that we had somebody in office that was taking a stronger position of authority than maybe the people wanted, or control that maybe the people wanted. And so one of the representatives said to me, and what happened? And I said, well, we turned 7 seats over and replaced 4 people out of those 7 seats because of policy differences and because of this, that, or the other perception. And they said, well, then what you have is that the ballot is where the people are heard. And the ballot box is where the people have a voice. And so then I thought, okay, well, I'll think about that. I'll stew on that for a month or 2. And then I started researching what was involved. Like, okay, we have the referendum or we go through council, then what do we do? And we have hundreds
And
and hundreds of ordinances that have to be
I just
redone.
wanted to stop you just for a moment. So I was just curious, I'm sure a lot of us are too. Did you do this research, prior to running, or was this after that
No,
you
no,
got elected?
after I was elected, because I didn't have the access and the knowledge that I had. One of the things about being a citizen versus and I spoke to this earlier, versus actually being in City Hall and doing the job, is that you have a perception as a layperson, and then you have a reality as an elected official. I had access to resources and classes and people and mayors and council people that I didn't even know before. And to be honest, you Mason, probably wouldn't have even answered my questions because, I wasn't even a representative at that point. So it was a process that couldn't have happened any other way. I couldn't have enrolled in a municipal class if I was not an elected official. So to answer your question, I didn't know enough. I didn't know enough. And now I feel like I have learned enough that it has changed my view. And again, I'm one person. I'm one elected official. So everybody except one elected official agrees with me or has the same kind of thought. And when I did publish the results of my process and my research and, my discussions, I had 2 council people immediately come in and say, I agree, well said, and support it. So at this point, it's explaining my view so people understand what changed my mind, but I don't think it's popular in our city. In fact, I know it's not popular.
So my question to you is that, including myself and others, when we sacrificed our time, to knock on doors and did our best to get you elected, what would you say to those people that had used that, voted on your platform to change the form of government, now it does not happen? What would your answer be to that?
My answer would be a question. Is that the only reason you voted for me as an individual? Let's change the form of government. Is that it? What about our responsible growth? What about filling the city's positions with qualified officials? What about, our cost saving, our budget, our vision for how we want the city to grow, putting our UDOs together? So I hope that just a change of government would not be, I hope that if you're a one issue voter, speaking of yourself, and that's one of the reasons you voted for me, are you a one issue voter? Was it only for change of form of government? That would be something I would ask you as a voter, is it's got to be about more than that. That's not, in my opinion, my humble opinion, that's just not all that it is. It's not about just changing the form of government and going home. It's about hiring the first CPA we've had in 3 years. It's about getting our books in order. It's about taking care of the city and the growth and the moratorium and the UDO. For me, that was not my whole focus with change a form of government. I saw it as a solution to what we perceived as voters as a problem of control. But I was quite impressed that the voters replaced 4 people. So that was the cheapest way to fix it. And it's a lot of money.
Right.
It's a lot of money.
Yes. And you have a wonderful attorney and CPS for this. Those are definitely positives that have happened since you have been elected.
100%. I think so.
Absolutely. So yeah, is there anything else that you would like for your constituents to be on the lookout for in the next few months?
But we are really excited about getting this finished. And then I personally, I think I mentioned this at the council meeting too, and probably, hopefully, the one that I saw you at. Easley Youth Council, I've been working on now. Unfortunately, the hurricane came and blew a lot of things up in the air that we've had to put on hold for that. But we had put together our advisory board for our Easley Youth Council. I want to get the youth involved and get them invested in what's happening locally, and hope to get that back on track. Since we're cleaning up from the hurricane and getting our debris picked up. Hope to involve some of the youth at our Easley High School in that, youth and government. So that's still coming. Hopefully, it's going to be a busy, almost the end of the year. I keep saying before the end of the year, but this is November. So the next 6 weeks, we're on fast track. We've got a lot going on this week, and we've got our Christmas parades and our tree lighting and our fall safety festival this week, and the museum's got an open house this week. So it may be the first of this year, but I hope that Easley Youth Council is going to get off the ground really soon. I'm excited about that. Talked about that, the video, and I guess because I saw this on your other segment, we've got our new fire truck approved and ordered. So that's 3 years in the making, but we're excited about that to help with our growth.
Yeah, and as far as finding out information, they just go on like the City Hall website and also the Easley Chamber to keep up with upcoming events.
Yes, I believe, and I guess let me put that plug in there too before we go. Please use our city website. I do talk to a lot of people. I get a lot of messages wanting to know how they can find open jobs and how they can find where the events are. Our website is constantly evolving. You know that websites you have to constantly update. Well, we're really proud of some of the information we've got on there. And as we learn things that people are asking for, we try to go put that out there. So all of the information about the debris cleanup through the county and the DOT, that's out there. We post our events out there. All of our departments and contact information for our new officers. We have a new code enforcement officer. Our new building department staff is on there. It's just, there's so much on our website. Please get familiar with that and use that. And again, reach out to me anytime. My email's on there, ltalbert@cityofeasley.com. And I love to hear from people. And if you can make time to stop by, I'd love to hear ideas and opinions and suggestions. And I have so many people that will stop and just pray. If you just want to stop and pray for us, we like that too.
Yes. Remember Justin did that as I was reading the people coming to vote on county council. He voted. He did a prayer with me and Chris Bowers that were standing out there. So I thought that was pretty cool that he did that.
It does. It sort of just takes everything and centers it, where it should be, and just stops the noise for a minute and reminds us that we're here for a short time on this journey together, and we have things to do. We have important things.
And definitely, yeah, especially in this business, I'm sure it's pretty stressful. So it is good to know that you have God by your side.
Amen.
Mayor Talbert, I appreciate you taking your time out of your busy schedule to come on here today, and we look forward to having you on here again in the near future.
Thank you, Mason. Thank you for inviting me.
All right, thank you. I hope you all have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. And that's our show for this evening. Make sure, if you hadn't already, to click like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and also follow us on Facebook for further updates. I hope that everyone has a good night, and make sure, if you hadn't already, to pray for good and peaceful outcome of the election tomorrow. Thank you again for watching, everyone, and good night.